This is a live, in-action, check-in airport delivery from an all-star Turo host, power host on the Turo platform, over 20 plus vehicles, out here in Las Vegas. So I'm on the freeway right now, and I thought this would be a good time to just pop open the camera and just talk real quick. I'm gonna give you guys the pros, the cons of airport check-ins, checkouts, and then I'll kind of talk a little bit about the airport check-in, checkout process. I did do a video on how to do an airport check-in, checkout, or delivery. This will kind of touch base on that a bit more, but also give you guys a perspective live in action. So let me give you guys a scenario. We call it a fastball. So this morning we woke up, somebody booked at 7 a.m. for an 11 a.m. drop off at the airport. So we got the car ready. I'm driving to go pick up my partner. So Eric's out there. He's already doing the check-in right now. I'm coming to pick him up, bring him back to home base. And yeah, the airport is about 20 minutes away from our home location. And what's interesting about these is you make money, you make more money right now. And I'll go into it, but we price our check-ins, checkouts at $120. So this person paid an extra $120. When you are doing any type of drop-offs, Turo doesn't take most of the drop-off. I think it's like over 90%. So we still make over $100. They take like a few bucks from the 120. So we profit $100 going into our pocket. But right now we're on the 75-25 rule. So long story short, if you're doing $100 a day, Turo takes 25 and you'll take the 75. So we're on the 25-75 plan. What's cool about drop-offs is Turo doesn't take a higher percentage. They take a very, very lower percentage of that. Like I said, if you price it at 120, so our delivery right now is 120 for anywhere. Airport, specific address, it's 120 bucks. We pocket and profit over 100 bucks from that. And that's both ways. That's both at check-in and checkout. So that's two ways. So if we were to like split that in half, that's about a little over $50 per trip. So is it worth it? It has its pros and cons, but it increases profit margin. So let's talk about pros. Pros, obviously, I just shared that about airports. That's number one. One of the pros is the ability to make money, right? Make money from it. At first, when we started, we did about $40 to $60 for a check-in, checkout, just so we can get our account warmed up, Turo to trust us, build up reviews. So we were doing that. Some people do it for really low, like $20, $30 just to get by. So that's a good pro. Also, another pro is if you actually allow airport, because over 50% of our bookings fly in from Vegas, okay? It's a lot of people flying in. A lot of them end up just Ubering or lifting to our spot. So, it has its pros and cons, but it also increases, I personally believe it increases your visibility as a host on the platform. So I'd keep any location drop-offs open. I personally would. Some people don't have the luxury or the flexibility to be able to do that, and that's fine. That's totally fine. But us, we wanted bookings right out the gate, so we'll do whatever it takes to optimize. So that, these are the pros of it, is your listing goes up, it gets bumped up, okay? And then also you make a majority of the profit from whatever you're charging for delivery. So again, Turo doesn't take 25% of the 120. They take a little bit less than that. So it's good. So that's the pro of the check-ins, checkouts. You get more optimized. We're out in Vegas. It's a travel city. Everybody finds their way in Vegas. What stays in Vegas or happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. You hear all that stuff about Vegas. Flights to Vegas are cheap, so people are always flying in. There's a lot of business stuff going on. It's an expanding city, okay? So that's why I have to, and we must optimize for check-ins, checkouts, for airport pickups, okay, and deliveries. Some cons. Well, a con for us has been the airport literally doesn't allow us to do it, okay? It's actually, you'll get ticketed. So I got caught up. They rid up one of my vehicles, and they also gave me a ticket for another one of my vehicles. And obviously this was right when we were getting started, our first 2 months. I learned a lot about that. So we've really adapted around how to do this. We're testing different methods. There's no like perfect way to do this, but Turo's like security, they're very, very strict. They're very strict. They know about Turo, they hear about Turo, they're gonna confront you as the guest. We've had guests that literally told us or told the security, hey, we're here to pick up from our Turo person. And some security were cool, and some security were waiting, just to like, with the hammer, just ready to nail us, right? Like they're just waiting with our guests right there. So we've had those instances. They've given us quite a few warnings. So again, we're just adapting, and a majority of how we're able to do this, and why is even Turo doing this? This is why it's a con. Like one of the cons is like Turo is not really allowed to happen at the airport. And let me be honest with you guys. Why is its airport not allowing it to? Why could they, ticket us and all that? Well, obviously it's their property, but the main thing, and just like everything else, it always has to do with money. Uber and Lyft, they have a signed contract with the airport where I'm sure they pay a monthly premium hefty fee just to operate and have their own level. They have their own level here at the airport. I'm sure Turo's not doing that. Again, there's probably not enough Turo hosts to be able to allow or make it worth Turo's like peace of mind or whatever to do it. It always has to do with money. So that's the main reason why I believe, from what I've seen and what I've kind of done my research on, why the airport isn't allowing it. Because honestly, like our guests, they're flying out, they're paying for the luxury, and I'm sure there's also rental car agencies that are attached to the airport that are paying a premium just so they can get it rented at the airport. So I understand why. Again, it always has to do with money. That's the kind of world we live in anyways. But as I'm looking at it, there's ways to adapt. So that's one of the cons. Another con is if it's just you, well, hey, depending on how far your location is from the airport, and if it's just you, again, I'm thankful and grateful we got a team daily working during the hours and all throughout. We're just available to be able to handle it, right? To be available. So we do 2-person. I know there's some people that will drop the car earlier and do all that. Again, if we have like a lockbox outside on the parking, I know as security's looking around, it might look pretty sketchy. So leaving our cars there, we've thought about it. We've done that about a few times already, and we've walked the guests through it. We're just trying to figure out, we're really big on customer service. We love connecting with the guests, especially at the check-in. Checkout, sometimes we won't, but most of the time we will be there for the check-ins, checkouts, just because we're available. Most hosts that are getting started, they don't have that luxury, and that's another con. Is like, you got to drive to the airport, hand it off, then you got to Uber back, then you got to go Uber, or hopefully one of your friends can drop you off at the airport during the exchange. And again, it's never always perfect. There's always like guests like last minute, right? Like we're about to head out and they're like, hey, can I extend for another hour or so? So there's like flexibility, there's patience that needs to be built through all this. But those are cons of doing like drop-offs, especially at the airport. We have to be sharp. We can't get caught up. And we've tried multiple ways. We don't do this whole passenger pickup thing. And again, I get it. If our guests are flying out, they're already giving the airport money. The airport wants as much money as they can get. That's why they're locked in with these car rental agencies, with Lyft, with Uber. And I don't know if Turo does get that big. That's going to be a lot of hosts in one area. And from what I believe, that Turo will allow this to happen. Okay. So hopefully I gave you guys just some insight on both the check-in, the checkout process. We always message them and we ask them, and if you guys want my messaging template, I drop that info. I drop the templates down below on what we message them, what we ask them for at the check-in. When we're about to check in, we always want their flight information because we want to be ahead. We want to know the terminal. We want to know, if plans change or if it's actually congruent. And this is another thing for the checkout. Is the timing for the checkout congruent with their flight? That has been like a big hurdle for us starting off, because right when we're about to go to checkout and we don't ask for their flight information right away of departing, they end up saying, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I know I said 10 a.m. on Thursday, but my flight is not until 10 p.m. Thursday. Can I extend? And it just messes up the whole flow a whole day before, and we have to adapt. Okay, so always asking the guests, even at check-in, when are you leaving? What is the time you're leaving? And I always like to give them a 2-hour buffer to be at the airport, to be safe, so they never miss their flight. So I know I kind of shared, pros, cons, check-ins, checkouts, deliveries. I'm almost here at the airport anyways, but hopefully this gives you guys insight on whether you want to do check-ins, checkouts at the airports, what to expect, how to prepare. Trust me, we've done a lot. We've scaled our account and reviews through airport deliveries when we were getting started because it was a majority of our check-ins, checkouts. Now it's kind of like been more home-based, but I think it's because our account is a lot more optimized. We obviously have more cars. Me and my partner, we used to have 2 separate accounts where he'd split his account, half the cars go on his, and then half the cars go on my account. But now all the cars are on his account. We've kind of established a foundation this time around this year just to be more organized with our taxes, expenses, protecting ourselves with, you know, the business name, the company. So we got a lot more effective after a few months worth of just testing. And not a lot of people want to test. They want everything perfect, and I've learned that imperfect action, you know, is better than no action. So that's what we did. Again, everyone's different, everyone's risk tolerance, where you guys are all at. But yeah, I'm here. This is the Las Vegas Strip. I'll show you guys real quick. Las Vegas Strip, boom, MGM Grand right there. Yeah. So anyways, again, drop any questions below. I love to look at all the questions. I love to interact and just help y'all. Honestly, I'm just running the biz day by day, and it's been exciting. It's a blessing. It's a lot of work. It's not what I expect. I like doing more stuff on the internet, and that's kind of like what led me to even just starting vlogging. So if you guys want more information, tap in. Right now, as I'm looking at our account, we have done over 550 plus trips, and we're about to pretty much double that in the next few months. I know summer's gonna be a big month, so if you guys want to watch that journey, questions, I'll give you guys templates. Check the description for any templates, free stuff. I just want to give as much as I can to help some people out because, again, I think it's a really cool side hustle that's not hands-on day to day. If you only got 1 or 2 cars, like, hey, you check in, get it out there, right? And then it'll run for a couple of days, make you some money, and then you just do the checkout, and that's really where a majority of the work is. But as you're scaling this fleet, you're eventually gonna need a team. 2 people is definitely ideal minimum once you go over, I wanna say 7 vehicles. It gets really interesting, but hey, everyone has their different systems, operations, flexibility, however your day-to-day is. Again, I always tell people it takes flexibility and world-class customer service, and that's what we're here to give. That's how we're gonna grow. That's how we're gonna continue to keep customers happy, guests happy. And we built a lot of great connections with a lot of different business people, families that travel around, people that travel for work, and they're always renting from us. So it's been a blessing. It's honestly just been a blessing all around. Hey, appreciate you guys. Tap in, questions, drop them below. Check out the free templates. Y'all be blessed. Have a great week.